Hey everyone, Stag here. This is my painting Cosmic. So it was part of the unicorn coloring book and ended up being my favorite of the 3 unicorn paintings. I kind of decided to do a little bit of a space unicorn because working back and forth with the aliens, like it just kind of came natural anyway when I was drawing, because I drew some of the unicorn coloring pages as well as drawing the alien ones as well at the same time with the original concepts. So it just kind of came naturally. And I ended up really liking the palette choice. Like, I had no angle where I was going with this painting anyway, but it ended up working out really well. So one of my favorite things right now to paint and draw are crystals and like little crystal formations. They are probably one of the hardest things to try to teach my brain. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but it's really hard to make things look natural and kind of organic. Like, for me, clouds are also part of that, because I feel like they're too posed, they're not random enough, they're not natural looking. And the crystals, like, it was kind of a task to try to make them not all kind of look the same and bland, to give like each kind of crystal its own character. Like, and when I first started doing them, like, it was a lot harder, and like I knew that was an issue, but the more and more I drew them, like, it got a little easier. And it helps that I have a ton of crystals that I can just turn them around and look at different angles of how they look anyway. But I still always have that like feeling in my head of like, well, it's uneven, it's lopsided, or it's not perfect enough. And like when I draw it, I want to draw it more symmetrical, but that's not nature. It's not always symmetrical. It's not always perfect. Like, I know I've said it before, but every painting is literally a learning process that I figure out something more, and I don't necessarily set out to learn from each painting. It just kind of happens how I end up doing something. Like, I'm still working on my clouds. I will still be working on my crystals. Like, I don't think I'll ever be perfect at them. Like, my clouds they're just hard. Like, I go outside and it's like, sometimes they're just a little too random, and they won't really look that great painted because it's just not a really good composition. But just looking at regular clouds and then looking at mine, it's like, that's not a really great formation. That's not organic enough. But I'm glad I did this painting the way I did, though. Like, overall, like, the colors, I thought really kind of complemented each other well. I wanted to do something a little on the sweeter side, color-wise, because I did the lightning unicorn, which was a lot darker, and then the other one with the crystal one with the crystals and the mist, and they were more of a darker palette. So I wanted to do something a little lighter for this one, more of like a sweeter mood. But often when I'm painting, like, I have no idea what colors I'm gonna choose. Like, I never actually sit down and think about a palette. I just paint, and hopefully it works out, and if it doesn't quite speak to me like it should, then I'll just, like, kind of scrap whatever I'm working on. Like, I think originally I was gonna make it more blonde, and then it was, like, a little peachy blonde color, and I'm just like, nah, it needs to be darker. And I think when I just kept adding more and more shading, I just ended up wanting it to be more obnoxiously pink. It is really not uncommon for me in paintings either to like change the colors several different times. Like with hair and whatever I'm doing, eyes, like it's not that big of a deal to change the color, because normally it's just the first beginning layer that I have down that I didn't like. I don't normally wait till the end when I get all the highlights and shading in. Like, the worst time that I have with changing colors is normally with backgrounds, and I'll often go in between a really dark background, like it's a nighttime painting, or like a bright day one, and sometimes I'll end up going back to my original idea too. Like, it's kind of really annoying, and sometimes I end up just scrapping those paintings because I don't like painting on many layers of paint, because I begin losing the canvas texture, which I actually really like to paint on. I avoided canvas like a plague for a long time because I didn't want the texture in my prints, but it's really nice for me to paint on, and it just paints, like, it has its benefit with the tooth of the canvas. I do really miss wood, because the paintings on wood, like, they look so flat, like you could see brush strokes in them. Just a little bit, but that was normally from the gesso that I used. It wasn't actually from the paintings themselves. I don't personally enjoy painting thick, and then I end up having issues. When I was painting on wood, it was really frustrating because I would have so much paint lift right back off the wood because I don't paint thick enough. I have really thin layers, and it just takes so many coats to get it to stick to the wood. Before I stopped painting on the wood panels, I did do a little experiment with trying to gesso it and then not sand it as much as I normally would to get that smooth finish. And the tooth was terrible to paint on. Like, it felt and looked like I painted on sandpaper. So I have some coffin-shaped wood panels I really want to use at some point, but I'm kind of dreading painting on wood again. But thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more. I post a lot of time-lapse videos. I am currently only streaming on Twitch. I know I did a few YouTube streams recently. As of right now, I'm affiliated on Twitch, so I can't. But thank you guys for watching. You can find me on Patreon. I have monthly subscription packages filled with art that I did of that month. And you can also find prints in my paintings in my shop at lowbrowmisfits.com. Thank you guys. Bye.